Okay, we are back. This is our first NFL show of the year. We're going to try and do this every Sunday morning, at least um, two. I don't know what the time will end up being every morning, but probably sometime around this, about 2 or 3 hours before kickoff. I am joined below me by Kyle Hewitt, who's coming off a huge wedding weekend. How was that, sir?
It was good. It's been just a fucking grind of wedding season for me. That was the last one of the year, so I'm pretty happy that I'm done. I've been on a little bender, but it's literally the perfect day for football to start because it's pissing down rain here. I'm like hungover. I don't want to leave my apartment. Come 1 o'clock, we got the games on, so excited to chop it up. And obviously excited to watch the Giants. Hopefully not disappoint me too much, but we'll see.
This wasn't the one in Italy that you just came back from, right? Was it?
No, so I had one in Italy, and then I flew back for another one this weekend in Scarsdale, which actually wasn't. It's like 45 minutes an hour from Hoboken, so that was way more low key, but still got after it last night. So feeling it a little bit this morning. Reesh, funnily enough, I woke up with a text at like 6 a.m. I'm like, what? Who the fuck is texting me at 6 a.m.? And Reesh is like, I'm so hungover right now. And I was like, I just woke up on my couch and moved myself to bed. And then Reesh actually killed me. And then we can get into it. He goes, I'm just splashing cold water off my
This is also my first pod in 2 weeks because I've been miserably ill with hepatitis. So we have brutally hungover Kyle. I'm still recovering from hepatitis. Hopefully Rishi is doing a little bit better than us. How are you feeling?
Dude, no, 5 hours later, it was kind of like a weekend with the wife. Checked out, because I'm going out of town again Monday for work, back to New York City. Kyle, hopefully I see you and Josh and the gang when I'm up there. But I said I'll kind of check out of all things and kind of hang out with her. So we went out last night, and then feeling good now. 2 black coffees in. So pumped for the NFL slate. So pumped to chop it up with you guys for our inaugural ISN NFL show.
Yeah, I've been pounding black coffee. I actually don't know whether I'm feeling just pure anxiety or actually good.
That's where I'm at this.
Yeah, we'll see in the next 45 minutes. So essentially, we're gonna go through every single game on the slate for Sunday. Probably not Monday Night Football, but every single game on the slate for Sunday. And just a quick update during NFL season. We will have picks and an insanely active Discord for all of NFL season, as well as full golf content every single week. Like nothing will change golf content wise in terms of the way that I like everything that I've been doing from January to August. I'm going to keep doing that during the fall swing. Plus, we will have NFL picks from all of our providers. I've had quite a bit of success at NFL in the past, but I have to be honest, I haven't been able to do the research that I have in prior years. So I'm flying a little bit more blind. But hopefully we have a good Sunday. I have a lot of plays actually to talk about. So let's dive right in. Okay.
Start with the Giants game because it's the first one.
Oh
okay,
my God.
So we're doing it in FanDuel's order. So the first game that we're going to talk about is Kyle and I's beloved Giants versus the Washington Commanders. Kyle, how are you feeling about the outlook of the Giants this season and this game specifically in their matchup with division rival Commanders?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You can also see like how much money is on each side and on DraftKings too, which is good. I don't know if it shows that up a little bit more, Josh, or where the fuck it shows that, but not a big deal. Regardless, but I actually like the Giants +6 today. I think it's a divisional matchup. I don't think we know much. I see the Commanders potentially regressing this year. It's kind of sloppy out in the Northeast. It's raining. I think that, that's going to slow down the game a little bit. So I'm not going to, like, in terms of this won't be a bet for me, but I would lean Giants +6, and I would lean under because I feel like if the Giants do cover +6, it's going to be a game where it doesn't shoot out the Giants defense. It's going to have to play well to keep it tight. So that's my view. I really like if you go down. I'm not betting this because I can't bet against the Giants. If I gun to my head had to take one touchdown score, I'd probably take Terry McLaurin in this game plus 160. He's an absolute red zone ball hawk. Like if you look at the statistics in terms of red zone targets and receptions, McLaurin like shatters everything. He accounted for, I think, 30% of all the Commanders' red zone targets last year. So I do, and I'm terrified. The one thing I will say I'm terrified of, I do think the Giants have made a lot of improvements on their defense. The thing that terrifies me with them is their corners, and McLaurin has killed them in the past. So that would be my anytime touchdown play in the game. That's kind of my analysis of this. I don't think I'm going to touch this game because I'm a blinded by the lights Giants fan, and I don't want to lose it on misreading how they're going to be this year, and I just kind of want to see it for myself before I personally invest into anything with the Giants this year. But that's how I see this game.
Okay, Rishi, your thoughts on the matchup and game?
Yeah, so I'll preface by saying Dave and I have been a lot too aligned this week, so just discount half of what I say, inclusive of we both like the Chargers to win outright, which Dave is blinded that way, but that was awesome. And Justin Herbert's winning MVP. Now on to the next piece of this.
I also boyfriend.
Oh, yes, correct. We're Mr. Beer for MVP. Yeah. That's correct. And so, yeah, I also lean the Giants +6 divisional game. Traditionally, divisional underdogs tend to cover the spread. I'm also going to stray away from it because it seems a little bit chalky, which gives you the kind of the red flags. The player I'm most interested in to keep an eye on, and I think you get a fair amount. This isn't going to be exclusively a DFS show, but just something to keep an eye on. Deebo Samuel, let's see how he's used in this game. It's going to be really interesting. If they can put him at running back, who knows? Is he still going to be fat? I have no idea. But I also think that we're going to see some Commanders regression. I'm really curious to see how Russell Wilson looks in this offense, how soon it is till Jackson Dart's starting. He's in front of Jameis Winston on the depth chart. So a lot of interesting things just to keep an eye on in these early weeks. But I also lean the Giants to cover 6.
Two things just to jump in there. I've already heard rumors that there's a package today for Jackson Dart in the game. So there's already rumors that we'll see Dart play today in week 1. So I really think that shows you how much they're putting trust in him. They put him 2 over Jameis. He had a great preseason. So very interested to see how short of a leash they give. This is what I was looking for, though. I always like to look at 89% of the money is on Washington money line on DraftKings. 60% is on Washington -6. So that's kind of another reason why I like it when it's, divisional. I like it when a lot of people are kind of looking one way and we haven't seen either of these teams yet. So just to add one more perspective there.
Yeah, take it with a grain of salt because I haven't been able to run like the typical preseason model that I have in years past. So I've pretty much just been receiving information from a friend in Vegas that I trust quite a bit. He was clamoring for putting Washington in a teaser over Giants +6.5. So I may have a slight disagreement there, but it was not a bet for me. I don't feel particularly strongly about the game outside of Kyle, I definitely agree with the McLaurin play. Okay, let's move on. What's the next game for us, Josh, that we have?
I think the next one is Bengals Browns.
Okay, I think this is kind of an underrated one. I'm actually really curious to see how the Bengals come out this year. Okay, line is it's very difficult for me to
5.5. 5.5.
Okay. Okay, so 5.5 Bengals Browns. Start us off here, Kyle. Do you have a play in this game at all?
So don't know if I have a play yet, but this is the game I'm targeting for DFS. As we said, this isn't necessarily a DFS show, but just to give that's one of I'm playing 2 quarterbacks and 2 stacks, and this is one of the games I'll be stacking. Flacco's super cheap. You saw what he could do in this offense 2 years ago. I'm not saying Flacco's some world beater, but I think they're going to be airing the ball out a lot. They got Judy, which I like. He's super cheap in DFS. Also, Joku rates out really well. Great matchup for him against the Bengals, and I'm running back either T. Higgins or Jamar. So that's how I'm constructing for DFS. So I think this game will shoot out. If I had to take a bet here, I'd probably take the over.
Yeah.
That's even though it's high, I think it's a game that could very easily get there. Bengals do not have a good defense whatsoever. And I think the Browns offense is going to be able to score, and the Bengals offense is incredible. So I know the Browns defense is good, but I think the Bengals are still going to get there as on offense. So that would be my kind of lean for this game. Not doing any anytime touchdowns in this game. But yeah, if I had to take one, it'd probably be Judy or Njoku, just because of what the value looks like to me. So that's how I see this game.
Rishi, thoughts on the matchup in game?
Looks like a lot of money. Just to give the last bit of information that I was trying to get you guys. 75% of the money is on DraftKings is on Cincinnati -5.5. So a lot of money.
That's really interesting because that seems like the worst price on Cincinnati. Like I'm looking at the Wager Talk odds screens, which primarily shows a lot of the sharper books like Circa and Superbook and South Point and stuff in Vegas, Bet Online, Heritage Bookmaker. It's a lot of -4.5. So quick piece of advice, shop around a little bit, because if you like the Browns, bet that DraftKings 5.5, but you should be able to find a little bit of a better number. If you like the Bengals, there's 4.5s pretty widely available. Rishi, your thoughts?
So a couple of things. Week 1, I tend to stray from betting overs. Like everyone has this idea of where the games are going to go, and you usually tend to fall under. So I just tend to be a little bit apprehensive about that. Also, there's some rainy conditions. Jeremy Fowler posted a tweet. It wasn't in the forecast, so it's looking a little wet out there a little bit. I mean, I think both teams will still be slinging it against poor defenses, but conditions are going to be there. I would lean the Browns in 5.5. Again, it's not going to be a game I play, or a game I bet on, but that's kind of the way I would lean. Bengals defense is awful, even with Hendrickson signing the extension. They're just, it's not great. They have Al Golden in as a defensive coordinator now. I think he's, not great. I mean, I just don't think much of him. So I would certainly lean the other way. The one player from like a DFS standpoint, again, leverage player, I think could be interesting is Jerome Ford. With Judkins not playing, yet, probably going to play week 2. You had Dylan Sampson as a rookie. I think Ford in a game where they're going to be, catching a lot of balls out of the backfield could be an interesting pivot, cheap pivot.
Burrow, by the way, also dating an Instagram model and Olivia Ponte. My contribution to this game. Okay, let's go to number 3 here. What's next up? It looks like Pittsburgh versus the Jets. So I pulled up my odds too, and I can share. I'm looking at a lot of the sharp books as well. So perhaps, hopefully, I could shed some light on like the market and the way the market is moving on these games, because that's always been a strength of mine in NFL. It looks like this has been like pretty consistent two-way action. Like it opened at 3. The line is still at 3. Everywhere there's 1-2.5 showing on Bet Online. So if you like the Steelers, I would try and access Bet Online, because 2.5 versus 3 is quite significant in the NFL. But it looks like pretty consistently 3s across the board, unless you have access to Bet Online. And that is Pittsburgh -3 on the road favorites against the Jets. Kyle, your thoughts on the Rodgers rematch?
Oof. Let's see. I mean, it's one of those games where the under's really low, and I could see it hitting. A lot of times, like there's these games where they put the unders really low, and you're like, oh, it's so low, like you got to take the over. I could almost see this being a situation. Again, also it's in like I'm looking outside my window in Hoboken here. This game's being played 20 minutes from my apartment. It's been pissing down rain all morning. The field's going to be soaking fucking wet. The Jets are going to be a team this year that they're going to run the ball probably at the highest rate in the NFL, or close to it. I would say them in Baltimore. That's just how I see them playing this year. I don't know, man. I feel like I would take the Steelers, but let me see. It feels like to me, yeah, all of the money's on the Steelers, which worries me.
I like the Steelers for what it's worth.
Yeah, I mean, I just like the Jets. To me, it's like, let me see it with them. The Jets have been so bad for so long. Like Fields could really, I mean, he could really, be a stinker. I think it's going to be a good offense for him because he's got a great number one. He's got a good guy. He's got a good guy to run the ball with. But again, I want to see that before I put any money on the Jets ever. So my lean would be Steelers. Don't know if I am taking that. If I had to do an anytime touchdown bet in this game, I think that the Garrett Wilson line's really interesting. I mean, plus 255 is the number one receiver, a guy who's going to get all of the targets this year. So I understand it's a low scoring game, and maybe that's part of the reason why you're getting a little juice on that. But for me personally, I always think when you for these anytime touchdown bets, I think if you can get the true number one guy, like another guy I'll talk about later, which is a bet I've made, if you can get the true number one guy at over 2-1 odds for the anytime touchdown in most games, like that to me is pretty valuable. You're getting Garrett Wilson at plus 255 here. So not only 2-1, but almost, pushing 3. And he's going to be the guy that gets the majority of the targets. So that would be my anytime TD bet here. And thoughts on that game. Again, I think this is a stay away for me, though, personally.
Yeah, me too. I'm not betting it.
Yeah.
Lean Steelers for me as well, but not a bet I'm making. I have a couple overs later on some of the afternoon games. Rishi, anything for you on Jets Steelers?
Yeah, one of my favorite bets of the week is just going to be the under. I understand it's at like 38. I got it at 38 and a half.
Yeah,
I mean, this game is like a 16-9 game, right? It's like, I really couldn't imagine it really being like, above 2017. So I really like the under. Even at 37 and a half, I think you're like, I'd rather it at like 38, but I think that this game is going to play under. I don't see either of these teams scoring. You have two defensive coaches. And I think they'll be doing a lot of this on the ground. So I prefer the under in this game. Again, just expecting like a 17-10, 16-9 sort of game.
Yeah, shitty weather according to Kyle.
Great. I think this would be a great game if you're going to do a teaser to tease the under with as well. Just to add if you're doing a teaser today, I think the under teasing this game as in an under would be a great part of a teaser today.
Yeah. Okay. Next for us, Josh.
What do we got? We got the New York teams done. Ooh, this game's kind of interesting to me, this next one.
Disgusting. Disgusting. I hate
Cardinals
this game.
Saints. Okay, so Cardinals Saints, what I'm seeing market-wise, this opened at 4.5 for Arizona and took a fair amount of Arizona money. I think there are a lot of people, a couple of people that I've spoken to that think the Saints are the worst team in the league. Which would explain some Arizona money. The over also got hit pretty decently from 42 to 44. And it doesn't look like there's been much buyback. So I'm seeing pretty consistently. I know DraftKings is 6.5. There are a bunch of 6s available everywhere. So this is another example of a game where on Sunday morning, I am seeing DraftKings as the market high. So if you like New Orleans, I would take that 6.5 on DraftKings. And if you like Arizona, there are a bunch of 6s widely available at some of the other sharp books. Your thoughts, Kyle, on this matchup between two teams that I wouldn't say I have a ton of confidence in?
Yeah, I don't actually like. I thought this was I was getting ahead of myself. The next game was the one that I'm kind of interested in. I will be playing Kamara and potentially Olave for DFS. I just think Kamara is going to be a guy who they're going to, he's going to get 20 to 25 touches a game. A lot of that's going to be, via receptions because Spencer Rattler fucking sucks. So he's going to be the guy that, Kamara is always a guy who catches balls out of the backfield. You add in the fact that you don't have a good quarterback, a guy that's not going to stretch the field well. I think he's going to be dumping it down to Kamara pretty frequently. So, and then I just think Olave is going to be a target machine this year as well. I think if he can stay healthy, he's just a great receiver, pound for pound. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts. For Arizona, Kyler, I'm hearing sick. Maybe I think I saw on Twitter, not that matters, but just to give all the bits of information out there. I do think Arizona improved greatly on defense. I heard some sharp people talking about that, which was really their kind of, what killed them last year was they have a decent offense and their defense couldn't stop anything. So curious to see what happens there, but I don't think I'm gonna touch this game other than taking Kamara and Olave in DFS.
This might be the popular side, but I think I like the Cardinals -6. It's not a bet for me. Let me see if I played anything on the total. No, I have 3 totals and 2 sides to give out, but they're all a little bit later on the slate. So, Rishi, your thoughts on Cardinals Saints?
Yeah, it's a no bet for me, but I would pretty disgustingly lean the Saints way and the points. It's like Dave even mentioned, Kyler laying 6 on the road. It's really like every reason I would click the underdog here, I would click the Saints here. I'm kind of intrigued by what Kellen Moore does. Now, Rattler's an awful quarterback, so there's that to it. So it's more of a stay away. I think the total is probably in about the right spot. From a DFS standpoint, I think the Cardinals are kind of interesting on some leverage pieces, or even just like stacking this game, as Kyle mentioned, like Kamara, Olave. Those aren't players. Well, Olave is certainly not going to be played too much. I also think that looking at how they use Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be pretty intriguing here. I mean, he's not going to be really owned on the DFS slate and has a lot of upside. So, that's kind of the way I'd look at it. Again, just leaning the Saints +6.
I would, if I had to stack this just to add some perspective here, I would me personally, I would do Kyler and Trey McBride and run it back. I wouldn't necessarily put 2 guys in a Cardinal stack. Kyler, I don't know. I think Kyler, because he can run, like you don't like he can kind of get one guy there and then also do it on the leg. So I'd probably go Kyler with Trey McBride or Kyler with Marvin Harrison and then run it back with Olave or Kamara. That would be how I'm seeing this.
Dave, I get the contrarian angle here, but isn't it like highly possible that the Saints have the worst offense in the NFL? You guys can correct me if I'm
even wrong. Likely.
It is, but I don't hate what he's saying. I don't think like if you're gonna play one of the cheap quarterbacks, I know it's like leverage if you play Rattler. Like to me, I feel like Flacco's upside is the cheap quarterback this week. Like I don't think you should overthink it. I think if you're playing somebody super cheap, I just think he's by far the guy that has the highest ceiling. That's cheap. So
let's not forget about Daniel Jones, but
Daniel Jones.
Danny Dimes.
I kind of like. Oh, that's the next game. So
there's the game. Gosh, this is awesome. Now we're getting to the goods.
Okay, what's the next one here?
These games,
Falcons.
Yeah, these are the games I'm way more interested in. These.
Okay, Buccaneers Falcons. A little bit of a market report on that one. Where are they on the slate? Okay, here we go. So this actually opened with Tampa as a slight favorite, and Atlanta took a lot of sharp money here. I'm seeing like just a lot of picks and like the very occasional -1 for Atlanta. It seems like DraftKings has the best Atlanta price at +1.5. So is it +1 now for Atlanta?
+1.5. Yeah, probably +1. Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, if you like Atlanta, I would take that DraftKings number. But again, difference between pick and 1 in NFL, it's not any key numbers by any means. Generally, when there's a -1, I just take the money line at -120.
Yep.
Atlanta, Tampa Bay. Seems like Atlanta has taken a lot of sharp money to get that closer to a pick 'em. So it might be Atlanta being the more of the sharp side here. But Kyle, your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I'm high on Tampa this year. It could be a bad spot to take them. Just in the terms of like a tough, like I don't think like if they lose this week, I'm still high on them the rest of the year. Like I just really like their offense. I love the kid they drafted from Ohio State. This is a game to me. There will be probably an anytime touchdown for me on this slate. The 3 that I'm eyeing, Bijan -145. I don't really love doing the -100 ones, but I just feel like in a game where I feel it's going to shoot out, and I feel like Bijan's going to eat more and more touches this year than they were given to Algier, just because I think Bijan's that much better. I think that's. I think later in the year, you're going to see Bijan Robinson anytime touchdowns in games like this with high overs at like minus 195. So to me, there's still value there. Evans plus 130, definitely interesting. Baker loves to go to him. Atlanta, from a statistical standpoint, led up a fuck ton of passing touchdowns last year. Baker was one of the guys who I think he was top 3 in the league in passing touchdowns. So I'm targeting those two or Ibuka as well at plus 250, who I think is going to be an absolute target hound, specifically in the early part of the season when Godwin's out. So that's how I see this game. My lean would be the over. A lot of money's on the over. So and a lot of money's on Tampa. So to me, I feel like it feels like a game where Atlanta, like if I had to go one way, even though I'm higher, I think on Tampa the rest of the year, I think I'd go Atlanta if I had to make a bet in this one. Don't think I'm betting the side, but I will definitely be betting one of these 3 props here.
This just feels like Atlanta at home. Like this is one of the bigger sharp square divides for me. So it wasn't a bet for me, but I kind of agree with what you're saying, Kyle, where I think I think that Tampa may ultimately win 1 or 2 more games when it's all said and done, but I like this Atlanta spot a lot more. Your thoughts, Rishi?
Yeah, I would also lean. It's not going to be a play. I think the total is about the right space. I would also lean Atlanta. I think it's the sharp money, and I, just play it at the money line. At that point, that's just kind of a lean from my side. Also, just seeing news. Godwin targeting week 5, so you're going to have a couple, as Kyle mentioned. This is like the perfect opening for first round pick and Egbuka to have a good start. And I certainly think that Mike Evans comes out of this game with a touchdown. Like early Mike Evans plus 130 feels like the sure thing that he scores today.
Baker loves good. Like if you look at it, he's another guy. Like this is what I look at for the anytime touchdowns. He's another guy. If you look at the percentage of targets he took in the red zone from Tampa last year, it's like 25 to 30% of the entire team's red zone targets were to Mike Evans. So Baker
yeah, my bad. Darnell Mooney inactive, so could make a change. That's a pretty big inactive. So
yeah, that's significant. I would.
I mean,
and Drake London was already like the highest owned player on the slate, so that's only going to get juiced up.
I was just going to say the same thing.
But it's going to be like funneled down that way. So just keep it in mind. But that certainly does impact the line a little bit too. Gosh, I don't even know who their wide receiver 2 is. This
is the first game I'm betting outright, by the way.
I'm betting this game as well. I have a play here. It's actually on the over.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah. So we're looking at Miami, Indianapolis. It seems like this was another game where Miami opened as a slight 1.5 point favorite on a lot of sharp bucks. And then actually Indianapolis took some money. And now I'm seeing on DraftKings, Indianapolis is minus 1.5. And a lot of the sharp books I'm looking at are -1. Again, this is a game that regardless of what side you are on, I would just recommend betting the team's money line. But for me, I am on the over. I bet the over at 46. And now like on DraftKings, it's 47.5. It's 46.5 on a lot of places. So I did get some CLV. Why even play the game at that point? But yeah, I like the over in this game. More of a tail as I start watching some football, but the guy I'm tailing is like, he definitely moves markets, and have worked with him on NFL and exchanged opinions with him in NFL for a number of years. So I feel quite confident in this over one of his favorite plays on the slate. That's what I would share. Your thoughts, Kyle?
Colts money line. I think it's a great spot for the Colts. I think that Daniel Jones sucks. I am not here to tell you Daniel Jones is a good quarterback, but Anthony Richardson is, a human garbage can compared to Daniel Jones. So I think that the Indianapolis Colts on paper are quarterback, and I'm not saying Daniel Jones is the answer, but I do think Daniel Jones will run this offense way better than Anthony Richardson did. I think he increases all of the upside from a passing standpoint, which is crazy to say. But Anthony Richardson was completing 49% of his passes last year. So even Daniel Jones coming in and getting that number up to call it 60, is going to help this offense move it. They've got great positional players. Jonathan Taylor is an absolute stud. Love their receiving core. Pittman, Downs. I'm actually higher on Downs. And this kid they drafted from Penn State, Tyler Warren. Keep an eye out for him. Absolute stud. So I'm deciding right now. So definitely taking Colts money line. The other bet I'm thinking of here is either Josh Downs or Warren anytime touchdown, which are both about 3-1. The Downs number just feels terrible to me. Like I feel like Downs is actually the guy that's going to end up being their number one receiver, and he's being priced as if he's number two. And again, when you look at the actual red zone splits, Josh Downs was a guy last year who really, really, really demanded a lot of the share of the targets in the red zone. So those are my leans for this game.
I like the down stuff. Rishi, your thoughts on Indianapolis, Miami?
Yeah, the other player, like if you're playing, the wide receivers of the DFS part of this game, I also think Pittman's like a buy low. I think he'll get a lot of like slot targets. I think, something called a storm duck is going to be the cornerback on, Pittman and or Downs. And it's like storm duck and Jack Jones. So I think you're going to get a lot of underneath targets through the slot. So agree with Kyle there. But I'd actually lean, and I'm not going to bet it just because I'm a Dolphins fan and it's painful. I'd actually lean the Dolphins on this one on the money line. And it's largely because the Colts offensive line, there's some mixed pieces in there. And the Dolphins, front seven is going to be really, really like their defensive line is loaded. This is like the first time you're going to get Chop Robinson, Bradley Chubb. And they're going to be coming, and bringing the heat. So, you guys have seen the story when I think Daniel Jones actually has a decent year, but you guys have seen the story when doesn't have a good offensive line, how that movie plays out. So with that, I do think that I think the Dolphins win. And I think, Mike McDaniel, Tyreek Hill, while like it's all the stories over the summer, I think they have a little bit of a chip and, something to prove. So while they could certainly collapse very quickly, I think that this is a spot where they could certainly put up like 40 points as well.
What's your season outlook on them? Because I've seen like a lot of Dolphins hate, and I'm not sure. Like I've just seen a lot of like they're a total mess. Like Mike McDaniel, first coach fired. Like that seems like a very popular first coach fired bet. I wouldn't like run to bet they're over by any means, but like I'm not remotely convinced that their offense is going to be per se bad.
Correct. Yeah, I'm certainly in line with that sort of line of thinking. I think McDaniel still is a good like X's and O's offensive coach. I mean, per like every other Dolphins year ever, it's probably going to be like an 8-win season where they run it back with the same squad again and rehire or maintain Chris Greer as their GM. Unfortunately, but yeah, I think that some of the dramatics of like Tyreek Hill and things like that are overblown. And I think that their offense still should be humming. And I think their defense is really like highly underrated. So I think it's probably somewhere like where it's supposed to be in that like 8-9 win range, probably 7-9 win range. If they overperform it, 10 or 11. I don't think they're going to win the division, but I think that I think they're kind of a dark horse for a wild card spot.
Yeah, fair enough.
One other thing on this game is I'm undecided on my second game that I'm going to attack from a stack standpoint. Definitely doing Cleveland and Cincy as we talked about before. This is another game of mine. I think a Tua A-Chain Tyreek stack is super cheap.
Yeah.
2 years ago, you were paying. I mean, I know it's 2 years ago, whatever. But like when they were all healthy, and that's part of the reason why I think the Dolphins have such a bad rap. Like this year, everybody's like, "Oh, the Dolphins fucking sucked last year." It's like, yeah, the Dolphins fucking sucked last year. Like Tyreek Hill wasn't healthy the entire year. Their offense fell apart. When Tua got hurt, their quarterback fucking sucked. When Tua was playing last year, their offense was fine. I mean, it was literally I'm not going to say it was the best offense in the league, but 2 years ago, Tua, it was, from a stat standpoint, the most
one of the best offense in the league
offensively. So I think give this team a chance when they're healthy again, which right now it seems like they are. So to me, the stack in this game would be, I would go Tua, A-Chain, Tyreek, or Waddle, or Waddle, not Andor.
Yep.
And then I'd run back either Downs or Warren. Downs, I think, has a ton of upside in this game. So
this is also like one of those options, like the Browns and Bengals game, because of prices, you could fully like onslaught it, like do the full Dolphins thing and bring it back fully, or the full Colts thing with Daniel Jones, Pittman, Downs, bring it back with Achane, Waddle, Reek. And I think there's potential, like Andy said, for this to shoot out. So it might be the game to really go in for the Millie.
What's nice for like Dolphins, and it's always, I always like to think about this for DFS, is like there's a lot of teams like you target a game and you don't know like which guys are going to be the guys that get like the majority share of the work. I feel like the Dolphins are a team where you can very easily pinpoint the guys they're going to be going to. If this offense plays well, these are the guys that are going to be the guys scoring. So I always like that. Another team like that, San Fran, who we'll talk about more later. Who I feel like you really know who's going to get the lion's share of the work. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm quite confident in the over. That's an official play for me. Okay, so next game on the slate, we have Vegas, New England.
Last 1 o'clock game. This is the last 1 o'clock.
Last 1 o'clock game. You're right, Kyle. A little bit of a market report here. It seems like New England's been taking a ton of money. This feels like almost like the public and the sharps are on New England. There was a little Vegas buyback, so I'm not going to say that it's totally like a sharp square divide on New England. I do think there's some sharp money on Vegas as well that's kept this under 3 for New England. But it seems like New England as a public side and sharps a little bit more mixed. I'm seeing 2.5 across the board for New England. Your thoughts, Kyle, on the Patriots Raiders?
This would be the chalkier side I would take. I do like
in terms of New England.
In terms of New England, I do like New England here. I'm kind of just high on them this year. I think that they've done a lot of things in the offseason that I really like. I don't think they had a good coach at all last year, and I think that Vrabel is going to really elevate everybody on this team, specifically from a defensive standpoint. Love the Diggs signing. That was the first bet I made for my anytime touchdowns. Diggs is plus 230 on FanDuel, which I just think is an outrageous number. He's a guy. He's going to be the guy on this offense. I mean, he's going to demand the lion's share of the targets. So to me, you're getting a guy plus 230 on FanDuel. Again, even at plus 215, I love it. That is probably my favorite anytime touchdown bet of the day. So that would be my flag plant. I think the under is interesting in this game. I think that New England's going to have a way better defense than people are expecting. I think a lot of people expect their defense to be really good, is what I meant to say. I think it's going to be under Vrabel a very, very. I think that's going to be kind of their bread and butter. So those would be my options. Hunter Henry's another always interesting touchdown bet, a guy they like to get the ball to, but. Just looking at it as well, like Bowers getting 2-1 on him is never a bad thing. But yeah, my flag plant for anytime touchdown is Stephon Diggs today. He's my favorite anytime touchdown bet.
Forgot to mention, it looks like I did bet the over. So, okay. But I don't know why he just fed me a bunch of overs. Like, I don't know if it's.
I like the other one he fed. I like the Colts.
Well, maybe the fact there was a pretty significant like under explosion for a lot of the year last year, if I'm correct. So maybe he's thinking some positive regression.
Yeah.
Some overs that might be a little bit lower than they should be. Perhaps I need to just like watch football. You know what I mean? I just need to like see some of these teams in action before I have like strong personal opinions. But over is a bet for me. It appears I bet over 44. It seems like 44 versus 44. 44 is still available. If you want to tail with me, you should still be able to find a 44. And I don't have a problem with the 44.5. Your thoughts, Richie, on the game?
Yeah. So more generally, as you were talking about overs, I do think, and I've talked to some smart people, that there's going to be some positive regression for offenses. Like over the last couple of years, it's kind of been like going the other way. I think you're going to see a little bit less of this cover two, and you're going to see some offensive creativity. Game is kind of a stay away from the betting side for me, largely because you have two new coaching staffs. You have Pete Carroll, you have Vrabel, and then offensive coordinators. Interesting, like for the Raiders, Chip Kelly. I'm just curious to see like how fast he runs that offense. Trevion Henderson was his running back at OSU, so that's a little bit interesting there. And then you have Josh McDaniels. It'll be interesting to see how he uses Drake May. How mobile he lets him be. I think Drake May could be the Stones in fantasy football this year, just depending on how mobile he is. I agree with Kyle that Stephon Diggs is in for a big year if he can stay healthy. I think the two of them could get things going. But honestly, I honestly am not sure how this game goes. I'd probably lean to the Patriots, but I would say I don't really have a strong feeling either way.
Did we skip? I just want to make sure we didn't skip
Panthers Jags.
Yeah, because that was a 1 p.m. game that I do have a play on.
Oh no, I messed up and I said it was the last 1 p.m. game, and this is the last.
Okay,
this is the game. I love it.
Let's just squeeze this one in here. We won't spend a ton of time on it, other than this is my final over. I have 3 overs on Sunday and 2 sides. We haven't gotten to the sides yet, but this is my final over for Carolina Jacksonville, and it looks like in terms of line movement here for the side, it looks like Jacksonville's taken some sharp money. This game opened at 3 on a lot of sharp books, and now it's all the way up to 4.5 on Bookmaker. So it seems like Jacksonville is the sharp side. With that being said, the best Jacksonville number is on DraftKings. So Jacksonville is 3.5 on DraftKings, I believe. So it's still kind of hard for me to see the screen. Is Jacksonville still 3.5 on DraftKings?
It's 4.5. I'm looking at.
It's 4.5 on DraftKings.
Well, this is DraftKings. So
okay, so it's probably 4.5 across the board. Then some 4s like on Heritage and Bet Online, you can find a 4, but it seems like Jacksonville. It seems like there's a little bit more sharp agreement on Jacksonville here than Carolina, and once again here, I bet the over 46. Kyle, your thoughts on this game?
I'm really interested to see how both the Jaguars' offense looks and how Bryce Young looks, who I thought came on very strong at the end of last year. They drafted this kid from Arizona, Ted. I'm not even going to go for the full name, but Ted McMillan. He's a really, really good player. Interested to see how his game translates to the NFL, but I really, from a number standpoint, like, and I love doing the anytime touchdowns bets. I always joke, the anytime firing up the anytime touchdown model. The anytime touchdown model was screaming to look at guys in this game to score touchdowns because both defenses were terrible last year. For example, like Chuba Hubbard plus 110 is one of the ones I'm leaning on. Jaguars had one of the worst run defenses in the league last year. I think Hubbard is, like, in my opinion, one of the most disrespected running backs in the league. I just think he's a lot better than people give him credit for. So plus 110 in a game that I think is going to shoot out, in a game where I think the Jaguars have a horrible run defense, just seems like a great matchup play for me. And then on the other side of that, Carolina gave up the most passing touchdowns last year by a pretty wide margin, and also was one of the worst pass defenses, generally speaking, which to me is saying Brian Thomas Jr. might be one of the guys on my anytime touchdown card this week as well at plus 135. So those are my leans here. Also very interesting game for the DFS side. I'll let Reese talk about that because I think he's actually attacking this game. But very interesting game in my mind, and I think in Reish's mind as well from a DFS standpoint.
Yeah, I would. I mean, I like the over. So this is I would probably imagine in DFS this is a undervalued stack that has some upside based on the sharp, not consensus, but I know there's some sharp money on the over, and obviously Jacksonville as well. What do you think, Rishi?
Yeah, so I'm also on over with you. I mean, I see it for all the same reasons you do. Both of these defenses aren't great. I think Trevor Lawrence, and we talked about this on the Best Ball show, like stacks I want to buy into the season are the Jags. And that's largely because BTJ, Lawrence with Liam Cohen. I'm really curious to see how Travis Hunter is utilized. So I think that they could certainly be humming. I think they could put up, 35 points. And I think the Panthers and Bryce Young could get going offensively too, even if they lose by like a touchdown. I probably don't have a lean at the current number for the price, but I am on the over. I'm into stacks on both sides. I think you could play Bryce and Tet McMillan and get Xavier Legette, like we were talking about here. Where the offense is going to go largely because there's some injuries in play, but I could also see it the other way with playing the Jag side of it. Trevor Lawrence, Travis Hunter, Brenton Strange, BTJ. So I definitely think this is a game to buy into. I think it's one of those games like the other one that Kyle likes is Cincinnati and Cleveland. This is my Cincinnati Cleveland game that I'm going to be buying into.
Sweet. Okay. So, what do we have next, Josh? Probably another 4 p.m. game. There's a couple good ones to end the slate too that I'm excited to talk about. Okay, Titans Broncos. So this is a lot of Broncos. I think there's a lot of people that are quite high on the Broncos. Just don't agree. Obviously the Chargers are good. I think despite the Chiefs' slow start in week 1, the Chiefs are going to be pretty viable as like an 11 or 12 win team still, in my personal opinion. I'm not as sold on this Broncos team as I think others are, and not a play for me, but I would probably lean taking the points with Tennessee. It's now all the way up to 9 in most spots. You can find some 8.5s, but a lot of 9s for Tennessee, Denver. Your thoughts, Kyle?
This game's not really doing anything for me personally. I think that the anytime touchdown bet I would make, this isn't going to be on the card, I don't even think it's on the screen. I would actually bet, yep, there he is. I would do Chig at 6-1. I think that is, you know what? I actually am going to bet that. That is a terrible number in my opinion, for who I think is going to be, the clear number 1 target. He was a guy that was really eating a lot of red zone shares. Rish and I were talking about this before. Like Ridley, I think the reason you're seeing a plus 280 on him for anytime touchdown as their number 1 option is because he's going to have Surtain kind of draped around him all day, who's one of the best corners in the league, which to me means they're going to have to go elsewhere even more. So I really like the 6-1. I typically like to bet like 1 bomb each week. This might be the bomb that I bet. I think that should be way closer to 4-1 than 6-1. Me personally. So that would be where I would go here. I'm not taking either side. So
I didn't bet it, but I definitely lean the point. I kind of agree with this take a little bit. I just need to see more. I'm not saying he's
Mac Jones, but he could actually, the thing is it's just a terrible comparison, to be completely honest, because Bo Nix is half of what he does is he's such a good mobile
runner,
so good running that
Mac Jones has absolutely nothing on. I think what Dave was referring to.
Yeah, I know what he's.
The concept of somebody who's good in year 1 and then totally falls apart in year 2.
That's fair.
Yeah,
totally fair.
Rishi, what are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I think that my personal opinion is that Broncos are overvalued. With that said, they could also floor a rookie quarterback in Denver. So I think I'm saying as a season, I think that the Broncos are a bit overvalued in this game. It's probably about right. Again, I could certainly see, I'd probably lean to the Titans covering, but I could see the other outcome of them getting blown out too, just because it's a rookie quarterback going into Denver. So I don't have a play in this game on the total, but my overall thoughts on the Broncos are just, I don't love it. And I think that the Titans are certainly going to have a better second half of the season, largely because Cam Ward's going to get into the flow of things, and the early part of their schedule is just challenging.
I think Cam Ward's kind of good.
Yeah.
I know there's probably some crazy stat about rookie quarterbacks in week 1. But I would absolutely lean Tennessee taking nine's just a lot of points for somebody like me who needs to see a little bit more with Bo next. Okay,
one last comment on this game. I think
that take your time.
Is I think there was a lot of like people last year, a lot of quote unquote sharps that thought Tennessee was going to be really good last year, and I feel like if you felt that way last year when they had Will Levis as their quarterback, you should definitely be high on them again this year because all they did was get a quarterback that can actually throw the ball down the field. So just one last tidbit there.
Okay, so we have 4 left, and they're all quite good games.
Yep.
What do you have next for us, Josh?
We got Niners Seahawks.
Niners Seahawks. I'm very intrigued by this game. I think the Niners are going to be quite good, and I think Seattle could be pretty frisky as well. It looks like the game opened at minus 1.5 for the Niners and has been pretty consistent two-way action. I've actually heard some smart people on both sides of this game. I maybe a little bit more sharp people on Seattle because the Niners have certainly taken more money and the number has pretty much stayed the same. This is another one where regardless of what team you like with a consistent line of 1.5, that's still low enough where I would just take the money line in this one. It's just not enough of a key number where I would care enough. So I don't know. I think I have like a very, very slight lean on San Francisco, but it's not a play for me. They're in Seattle. Think that fan base is going to be pretty fired up. Some smart people I know on the Seattle over win total, actually. So I don't know. It's just a total no play for me that I'm also super excited to watch. Your thoughts, Kyle?
I would take the Niners. I think there's a lot of this feels like the last year's Titans to me, where like there was a lot of sharp people on it, and I don't really necessarily agree with it. Like I think there's a lot of people that are saying the Seahawks are going to be good, and maybe they will be, but I think Darnold could have a massive regression this year. I think he was in the perfect place last year in Minnesota, the perfect system. Kevin O'Connell, Justin Jefferson. His weapons here are just not nearly as good as what they were last year from a lot of different perspectives. So I would, even though it's popular, I would lean 49ers money line here. I love it. I'm going to have one of these 3 bets. I think the McCaffrey anytime touchdown line is way too low. Minus 115. It seems fishy, Josh. I think the reason it's fishy is because there's been, and this is part of the reason why I like the 49ers and part of the reason why I'm going to be slamming Christian McCaffrey in daily fantasy. I think that this report about his calf, and like, look, I could be wrong. I think the report about the calf smells fishy to me in the sense that I think that thing got blown so far out of proportion in the sense that I think McCaffrey was always playing this week. I don't think he was ever in question of not playing this week. If I end up being wrong, I'll die. It's a hill I'm willing to die on. He's getting no love in terms of like he should be a lot higher owned, I think, in DFS. I think the calf thing's keeping people off of him. I'm of the opinion that he's totally fine and that you should play him, and that minus 115 is only minus 115 because people haven't seen him play this year and they're worried about his calf. Also, I will be betting one of McCaffrey, Kittle, or Pearsall anytime touchdowns. All what I was saying before about Miami is how I feel about San Francisco. It's really easy to know, like, if a guy's going to score. I feel like you kind of know the guys who it's going to be on San Francisco, which I don't think you can always say about teams. I think that, McCaffrey makes their offense so much bit better. If you look at the deltas with and without him, Kittle is just, I'm just a guy who I'm, in love with from a lot of standpoints, from DFS, from best ball, from just think he's going to be tight. He has the tight end one ceiling this year. Plus 175 to me is the number one option. Just feels like a really good number. And then Pearsall, I think, is going to be their clear number one this year. I think it was Juwan Jennings last year.
I love Pearsall.
I think you're going to start to see the numbers with Pearsall and Juwan Jennings flip. I think going forward, you're going to see Pearsall as the guy who is more likely to score for the Niners than Jennings. So that's kind of the read there. So I'm going to be taking for sure one of these three. I'll post it all after the show in the Discord. But that's kind of my thoughts on this game.
I've only heard like amazing things about Pearsall, minus the getting shot piece. That probably wasn't too great.
Crazy.
Yeah. Okay, Rishi, your thoughts on San Francisco, Seattle.
Yeah, I don't really have a take on who's going to win. I'm not sure what Seattle's going to look like in this new offense. I would probably, I'd probably just lean, and it's a very slight lean, Seattle. And, as far as the total goes, I think that sounds about right. Now, from a DFS perspective, I think there's ways to jump in on Purdy here. Again, like Kyle mentioned, where the offense is going. Those are usually kind of the offense. It's like Pearsall, Jennings, whose calf is miraculously better. Kittle, where the ball is going in this offense. And I think it's pretty straightforward on the Seattle side. On the bring back, it's like Kenneth Walker should have like a day. So, yeah, as far as the bet, very slightly on Seattle, but I really don't have a take on it.
Don't mind running back JSN either in this game. He's cheap and he's going to be their number one guy this year. So that'd be my run back or Walker like Reese said.
Okay, so we have Packers Lions next. This is a game I bet. I actually bet the Packers at home. I'm a little bit concerned about some Lions regression this year, just a little bit. I know they're still a loaded roster, but this opened up as Green Bay pick. And I've seen from the people that I've talked to pretty consistent sharp money on Green Bay. I actually bet them -2. I bet the Packers -2. And you can find -1.5. So I may be screwed. I'm just kidding. It's nothing between 1.5 and 2. But 1.5 should be available at that point. Once it gets to 1.5, I would probably say just take the money line anyway. But I'm on Green Bay at home. What do you think about these two teams, Kyle? Because I think now we're starting to get into teams that will be pretty relevant in terms of like making the playoffs and stuff like that.
Yeah, obviously, I think the Packers are very interesting now, specifically with the Micah Parsons signing. I think that was clearly what they needed the most. Actually, was a pass
Do you
rusher.
think he's worth like a field goal?
I think he's. I don't think he's worth a field goal to
maybe
the
2 points.
Packers. I think he was worth. I think he was worth a lot more to the Cowboys. Than he might be for this team. I don't know. Yeah. It's hard to say. It's hard to quantify. I think it was a lot of money to pay a defense, regardless of how good he is. It was a lot of money. And the Cow what it came down to, I don't think it was a disrespect thing at all from the Cowboys to Micah. Like if they signed Micah for the amount of money they were going to pay him, they would have had 50% of their salary cap tied up in 3 players, which is just in my mind, a recipe for disaster. So anyway, that doesn't matter from the sake of this game. It's interesting. I think a lot of people were already high on the Packers like this year, and then they added Micah, and I think that's only a reason to make you even higher. It's a really coin flip game for me. I don't really know which way I see this game going. Even in games that are coin flips, like normally I can make a decision. I'm having a hard time saying, one way or the other. I do think that the Montgomery anytime TD is interesting. Don't know if that'll be on the card, but I think that people are like, oh, Jahmyr Gibbs is going to start taking the lion's share of the touches. Like I don't dispute that whatsoever, but in my mind, part of what makes Gibbs so good is the amount of pressure that David Montgomery takes off of him. Having a guy who's such a good number 2 running back, who is such a different style of runner than Gibbs, to me, it helps them feed off of each other. So I don't see a situation where Montgomery takes a massive dip in the number of touches he gets. Part of the reason why Gibbs was so good at the end of last year was because part of the reasons why Gibbs's statistics took a big uptick at the end of the year was because he was getting more touches because Montgomery was out. So I see this as a 65-35 time split, and they like to run the ball. And when they get in the red zone, they like to run the ball with Montgomery. They oftentimes also, what I've noticed with the from a first touchdowns bet, Montgomery is like a first touchdown machine for some reason. Like when they get down to the goal line, they tend to just punch it in with him. So those are just two ones that I would look out for. I don't think I'm playing anything in this game, but I'm really excited for this game.
Me too. Rishi, anything there for you on Lions Packers?
I'd lean Packers money line. Not a bet for me here. Again, I'm a little bit apprehensive about over-unders, but yeah, I'd lean Packers money line. I also think from a DFS perspective, this is a fun one to get into. Like, I think if Lions are underdogs, you can see like Gibbs, St. Brown, Jameson Williams having big games, needing to score to keep up. It's a little bit tougher on the Packers side. You don't know where the ball is going to go. You don't really know how healthy Jaden Reed is. Missed a lot of practice this week. I feel like the only certainty as far as route participation is going to be like Tucker Kraft. So might be some value in like Tucker Kraft plus 210 to score. I feel like he's the only person that's going to be on the field because they rotate their wide receivers. I like Matthew Golden a lot, but I don't know. Again, as a rookie, you don't really know what his participation is going to look like this week. But I think he's a really solid player. So over the season, he'll be solid. But I am certainly buying back into the Packers again this season. And I think that their passing offense is going to be increasing quite a bit. I don't think it's the Josh Jacobs season again. I think it's going to be a lot more Jordan Love healthy and slinging it.
One thing that's weird to me, just to add one tidbit, I agree with everything you said. The Jaden Reed stuff's super weird to me. From what I understand is like he has like a fractured foot, and he's not he's deciding not to get surgery. So he's going into week 1, right? And this is like stuff that like happens later in the year. Typically, you have a guy that hurts himself and he makes a decision like, oh, like I'm not going to get surgery. I'm going to play through it, and then I'll get surgery in the off season. It's weird to me that he's taking the route of not just getting some sort of procedure done and like coming back week 6 and he's trying to play on the, broken foot. To me, like a broken foot, like with a wide receiver or running back, like that's just like not an injury you want to be dealing with specifically as early in the season as he is. So further reason to Rish's point on Tucker Kraft that I do like that plus 210, a guy that they gave a lot of targets to in the red zone last year. So that's a very I do like that play, Rish.
Okay, let's move to what is it? Houston Rams, probably. I would guess. Houston Rams probably because Baltimore Buffalo is the night game. Okay, so I think it's a pretty good game. I don't have like a strong opinion here. Definitely a no play for me. It seems like Houston. It seems like it's been some Rams money. I'm seeing 3 across the board. No matter where you bet, it's a 3. There's some minus 120s. Like it's minus 120 on Circa, but a lot of minus 10s as well. So maybe slightly juiced to the Rams at minus 3. But this is just another one like Seattle, San Francisco that I don't have a strong opinion and I'm excited to watch. But if you're looking for more of the sharper side, I think it would be with the Rams. It's interesting too. Chris just posted 54% of the money on Houston, and yet the line has moved in the Rams' favor.
I love it,
which might indicate some more sharper support on the Rams. Your thoughts, Kyle?
I think the big question here is, what do we get from Stafford, who's been dealing with this back injury or whatever it is? He's suiting up. He's going. The Rams last year, they really gave the Eagles everything they could and more on the road to playoffs. And, they go out and they, in my mind, I thought getting Devontae Adams was a great move for them. I thought Cooper Kupp, as good as he was, is a very similar receiver to Puka, right? Like both slot guys who are just like running short routes to beat their guy off the step, but like aren't necessarily stretching the field. Obviously, both of them can do that. I'm just saying the majority of the way those are guys who just get a lot of receptions and a lot of yards after the catch. Devontae is a guy who can take the top off the defense. I'm not ready to say Devontae. I think Devontae could have an 1,000-yard season in this offense alongside Puka. I think they can both get that. And they're very different style receivers. So now you got a guy that you can put on the outside who is really a gamer, who's shown that he can be a number one target on Super Bowl winning team. So he's very interesting to me. The offense, if Stafford's healthy, I think is a great offense again. So it's a stay away from me because I just want to see how Matt Stafford looks before I put any more coin into the Rams. That's kind of how I see this. The Higbee number is kind of interesting to me as a touchdown bet, but I'm not going to bet that one. So,
Rishi, your thoughts?
Yeah, this is one of my favorite games. This is my favorite game to bet on. I like the Rams -3. I think that the Rams defense might be up there with the most underrated defenses in the NFL. I think Jared Verse might be Defensive Player of the Year this year. Might be something to bet on that way. And then I think Houston has the worst offensive line. And I mean, I'm a Dolphins fan, so when I say bad offensive lines, I can recognize those pretty well. I think Houston may have the worst offensive line. And so I think the Rams are just going to beat up on them. I think it'll be pretty ugly, but I could certainly see like 24-10 game. CJ Stroud just finds Nico Collins for like 1. But again, they don't have Christian Kirk, which is like the slot where they'd go to. And so they're lining up something called like a Xavier Hutchinson, and they have a couple of rookie wide receivers. So I could see the Rams and the experience, and now adding Devontae Adams to that, just beating up on this Texans offensive line.
Okay, sweet. Let's grind through the final game real quickly, the night game, which I think is the best game on the slate. I mean, a lot of the people I've spoken to believe that Baltimore is the best team in the NFL. I would obviously say that Buffalo is at minimum a contender as well. Baltimore I have a Baltimore problem. I've picked them to win to the Super Bowl multiple times in the last 5 years. Obviously, that's not happened. I do believe that in the next 3 to 5 years, Lamar Jackson will, at minimum, play in the Super Bowl. And if you ask me one team that's going to win the Super Bowl today, I would give you Baltimore. I bet them here, pick them. Looks like it's mostly -1 now. Still have no problems with the -1. I would probably just take the money line. I still think the Bills are going to be good. Like, it's not even an anti-Bills thing. I just think Baltimore is better coached. I mean, who do you think, Kyle's like truly this year is going to have a better season between Lamar and Josh Allen?
Such a hard question.
I know. I agree.
I mean, they both had the Lamar stuff. I feel for him. I mean, either of those guys could have won the MVP. It's still kind of crazy to me Lamar didn't.
I know.
Even though I get the Allen argument too. Just the statistical season Lamar had is, statistically speaking, one of the best by a quarterback that I've ever seen. So yeah, I mean, this is obviously like the crown jewel game. Two teams that I think both Super Bowl contenders. Very excited to play some showdown tonight because this is a great game from a showdown perspective. I haven't gotten that far yet in terms of DFS, but I'll put some thoughts in the Discord later.
Yeah, we'll have a full showdown report up on the site as well from our member Brian, who's been doing a great job.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, my lean would probably be Baltimore here, but I think one of these two teams is going to win the Super Bowl. I just don't know. I don't know which one. I just feel like how many times can these teams like get this close and
I know. I feel the same way.
And then and again, like here's your Kyle. And I hate when people do this, specifically like Dave with Herbert in week 1. And now that Herbert played well week 1, that validates everything he's ever said about Herbert. But that we could do a different podcast in the words of Andy Lack on all of the Dave-isms out there. No, but you look, I mean, you saw the Eagles and you saw the Chiefs play week 1. And I think that a lot of people, like felt that in week one, both those teams didn't look nearly as good as they looked last year. So just an interesting thing. And, obviously week one, obviously that's an overreaction for me, but just putting that out there. So yeah, I think I'd go Ravens. But it's really a coin flip game to me. The Lamar, anytime touchdown is interesting here, and Mark Andrews and Rashad Bateman. Those are kind of the three ones that make sense to me here. So maybe I'll do one of those later. I haven't gotten there yet. I haven't gotten to the night game yet, but that's the kind of thoughts. I feel like it's going to be a great game. I feel like if I had to pick a side, I'd probably pick the Ravens here.
Rishi, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think I'd lean the Ravens. I don't have a bet in this game. Just kind of wanting to see how these offenses flow a little bit. But my sense is that Ravens take like a 10-0, 14-0 lead, and then you're just going downhill with Derrick Henry the rest of the way. That's kind of how I feel about it. I'm really curious to see, as far as players go, and maybe for showdown tonight, Keon Coleman. I think, he can stretch the field, to see if he makes that second year pickup and see if he gets a touchdown. But yeah, I'd say I'd lean the Ravens, but no strong feelings either way.
Okay. So just to wrap up real quick, Kyle, can you give me like your 3 to 5 favorite bets, just to recap? I know you'll have a lot in play, but just in terms of like sides, totals, props, anytime touchdowns, what would be your consensus, like your couple favorites?
Yeah, so I think my couple favorites, just after talking through it all and kind of like looking through it and everything again, I think my 3 favorites, one already mentioned, Stephon Diggs, anytime touchdown, plus 230 on FanDuel. I just think that's a great number. I think he's going to get the lion's share of the targets this year. He's a guy who, in the red zone typically gets a massive share of the targets as well. I think I'm going to, I made the decision. I think I'm going to go Kittle anytime touchdown in the Niners game. I just think plus 175 is a guy who, again, gets a lot of red zone targets and is, to me, like I know he's not a receiver, but he's their number one receiving option. That's kind of my lean. And then the last anytime touchdown I'm going to do for the first slate is Josh Downs, which has now moved to plus 330. So I just think that's a really good number for a guy that I think is the number one wide receiver in that group, in a game that I think is going to shoot out. Oh my God, Rory just eagled 18 to go into a playoff in the Irish Open. Like,
did you really? Yeah, it's great. It's a great. I mean, I have I'm going to do a golf podcast shortly after this, but it's a great day if you have multiple screens, because Cyprus has been cooking pretty hard at the Walker Cup as well.
Dude, they're going fucking nuts. He's about to go in a playoff. And yeah, great day for sports. Sorry, but yeah, those were the 3 I decided on anytime. So maybe more to come later today, but so far I'm doing Diggs, Downs, and Kittle were the 3 for anytime TDs. I think my favorite bet is the Colts. Money.
Okay.
So those would be the other one. I think I'm going to take the other side. I think I'm going to take is the Pats money line, which I know is a little chalkier, but those were the 2 sides that spoke to me. And then the 3 kind of anytimes that I like.
Rishi, your just favorite 1 to 3 bets?
Yeah, probably Steelers Jets under that 38 and a half. So I think the number I got, I love that. And I love the Rams -3.
Yeah.
And just to top it off, on their sports day, I think I lean Yannick Sinner in 5 sets over Carlos Alcaraz. But it's been a rough ending here.
Wait, what time is Sinner Alcaraz on?
It's a good question. I think it was 4. But anyways, it's like going to be, obviously it's going to be a very split tournament. It's 2. Okay, awesome. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. So, I mean, adding to the sports, it's going to be a long one.
Have they been in the last 6 finals together?
Yeah, it's pretty dumb to just bet against that outcome. Pretty much without injury, they're just so far above anybody else. And it would be a lot cooler if they weren't friends, but they like each other, which makes it a little bit less fun. But yeah, it should be a fun one.
To recap for me, I bet I have 5 things in play today. Miami, Indianapolis over 46, Carolina, Jacksonville over 46, New England, Las Vegas over 44. Baltimore pick'em, Packers -2. So hoping for some points today in a number of games with teams with very sloppy defenses. I would say also as well, if you just want like a great, very low stakes group chat for the NFL season where you just have people of like all shapes and sizes, from people that are betting like 10 grand a game and have experience working in Vegas to $5 bettors that really don't like care to be the smartest guy in the room on NFL. Check out our Discord for NFL. It's not like there's no extra price for it. So if you just sign up for the regular golf price, you get access to a Discord channel for every other sport, which I think is pretty cool. Not to mention the fact that we will like golf content. I'm about to record my first golf podcast back for the Procore. I'll have ownership stuff, Monday shows with RB on DFS. You guys can hop on Wednesday as much as you guys want to, and we'll just have full fall swing stuff like we would for any other tournament during
two great tournaments next week.
Yeah, we do. We have BMW, PGA, and the Procore field's really
going to be
good.
awesome. It's probably going to be the best Procore championship ever.
Yeah, the Procore field's really good. I'm not gonna. I'll save my picks for the Sunday show, but I have some strong opinions on Procore. So thanks, guys. Enjoy the NFL. I'll come back. I'm gonna watch probably like the first half of the games and then record the Procore pod at halftime. But excited for a long day of sports today.
All right, boys. Cheers.
Cheers, guys.